YouTube just about the fitment of the KLX 250 swing arm to my xt500 project and how I've gone about it. So I've got a couple of old videos that I took about a year and a half ago when I first fitted it up, and it goes through the construction of the crush tube and the bearings that I've used and how I've mounted it up to the frame. So we'll link those into this video. We'll stitch them in, we'll be back and forth, but this is just the introduction and we'll go through it quickly now. We'll start at the front and work towards the back. You can see the brake pedal here. You can see the brake pedal has been converted to having the brake actuation lever on the outboard side of the frame, whereas standard it's in here on the underside of the frame. The new swing arm doesn't allow that, so you have to convert it, and I've got some photos that I also took when I converted this. I'll insert those here. Additionally, we have a brake rod that now runs outside the frame and steps over to the inside of the shock absorber. This is off a xt500. It's been repurposed for this project. You can see it's got a couple of bends which just steps it inside the shock absorber. The quick release here and the brake arm here is also xt500. If we look down this way on the underside of the swing arm, you can see I've had to install a torque rod for the brake drum. To install that, I had to weld this mounting tab on the underside of the swing arm under here. So just here underneath the swing arm, you can see the 5mm aluminium plate that I've welded to the underside of the swing arm to accommodate the torque rod for the rear brake drum. Okay, so we've got YSS piggyback VMX shocks on this bike. There's stainless button head screws mounting at top and bottom. You'll notice on the lower mount I had to space the lower section of the shock absorber sideways, so this spacer is also a nut as well, and it just keeps it looking clean and tidy without having a big hex nut on the inside of the swing arm just there. So it's just a nice solution. So I also fitted a Kawasaki KX250 A5 lower chain guide to this swing arm. They're bolted straight on with a 3-bolt pattern here to the KLX 250 swing arm. I had to make up some stainless steel spaces between the swing arm and the chain guide to adjust it to the center line of the chain. And I'm also running a Yamaha xt500 rear sprocket. This bike will predominantly, will only be used on the road. So if you were running TT style gearing, you would be running a larger rear sprocket, and you would have to do some alterations to this to fit the larger sprocket. Either move it forward or cut into this somehow. I've chosen to go this way and it suits my purposes. Here you can see there's a genuine Kawasaki KLX 250 chain guide, upper and lower on the swing arm. So nothing special there, just had to try and get one. You can get those aftermarket, I've since found out. If I pull on the chain, you can see the tensioner working here, so it works as intended. It keeps the chain tight, stops the chain rubbing on the lower frame tube in here, and will obviously minimise any chain derailments. You can also see a custom nylon spacer or rubbing block that I've put on the gear shaft here as well. The crush tube that I've installed in the centre of this swing arm, I've inserted this grease nipple so that I can easily grease the needle roller bearings within the swing arm. What I will do, and I would suggest anybody else do, is to fit a 90-degree grease nipple there. It would make greasing this far easier. So that will be coming out, and a 90-degree fitting will be going in. From this angle you can see the Kawasaki 250 A5 chain guide on the inside of the swing arm, and the stainless steel spaces that I've made up just to space it out to get correct chain alignment. And that's pretty much it as far as fitting the Kawasaki KX or KLX 250 swing arm to the Yamaha xt500. That's how I've done it, like I've said. within this video you would have seen a couple of other videos stitched in that I made probably 2 years ago now on how I went about that. It does take a little bit of work. That's how I've done it. I'm sure there's several different ways to do it, but that's probably the way I've done it, and I hope it helps you out if you decide to fit a Kawasaki swing arm to your 500 project.